Oof, we don't envy it at all. And if you're watching this, maybe early morning, say Thursday or Friday, and you're like, I'm so tired. I wish I could sleep. Nobody's tired at the time of the recording than Brandon and his wife. And probably think, what the hell? Well, if you're on social media, I feel like we can say this because I did see some pictures online. Brandon and his wife had another healthy little baby. So congratulations to the McDermotts on baby number Trey. You poor son of a gun.
Yes, and working the night shift. It's like he's begging his wife to him. I don't know if he's just someone needs to do a wellness check on Brandon J. I mean, we text him often, but yeah, he's working 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. with a newborn at home. Oh my!
So was he working? I took it as he was doing the baby shift.
Ooh,
Right? Because I mean, he works radio. I don't think he's working the 8 to 5 in the radio shift, right?
that's what I
Oh,
assume. That's why I thought maybe he was doing that he was covering or something.
right. No, I see. I took it as because he usually works Monday through Friday unless there's events on the weekend. So I think he was putting in the baby shift, which I know some people are. They're like, oh, watching your kid is at work. You're not babysitting. Listen, usually single parents or not single parents, people who are single that don't have any kids are the ones to do that, or potentially stay at home moms. You know what I mean? But I no, actually they wouldn't because it is a lot of goddamn work. There's no way I could be a stay at home parent. They put in the
No.
work, but putting in that work like he's doing right now, Brandon. I mean, the shift. I think it's smart. I mean, when I had my kid, it wasn't. It was just we didn't have it smart enough set up to be like, all right, I'm going to be on this duty here. It's smart.
You know what? And I always say I'm not much of a reader, so this is probably true. Maybe that's what he was talking about. He was taking the night shift with the baby, which would make sense because I was like, man, he's already back at work and he's taking the night shift. I was like, my God, this is, I fully support her. Yeah, like absolutely.
Yeah, that's how I took it. It's gonna try to make tomorrow work, and this is in our little group chat. You get a little sneak peek, and then it said, "I'm doing night shift, so I'm not getting to bed until 5 a.m." So it could be taken either way. I just assume that he was doing the night shift with the newborn
Which would make
or
sense.
kids. Yeah, but is it were you one of those smart people that because the old saying was sleep when the baby sleeps? Were you one of them, or were you like, no, I got stuff that I gotta do, and then just run on pure fumes and exhaustion?
It kind of depend. Like it would depend on the day. Sometimes, like I'm like begging the baby. I'm like, oh, please, please go to sleep. I'm
Sleep.
so tired, you know. And as soon as they're like, and I'm like, yes, you know, I'm gonna take a nap too. And then the naps never seem long enough, you know. And then even whenever you are napping, you're waking up every 15 seconds. It seems like just making sure the baby's still breathing. You're just staring at it like I swallowed you really tight. Is that blanket is it moving? I can't tell.
Swaddle baby, swaddle baby. So let me
Yeah.
ask you this: as a father of multiple kids, which one do you think was potentially easier and a little less nerve wracking and exhausted? They're all exhaustion, but being a guy that has multiple, like the first one, I feel like, at least for me, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I mean, did I read the baby book like in the movie? Nah. That I watched. Did you guys? I had to watch a movie while I was at the hospital of like basic shit. They put her in the V. It was still a VCR play, and I was just like, I just walked in there, fast forward. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I had no idea. So it was figuring things out, running on pure fumes, drinking coffee. That's when I started. I didn't drink coffee all the way up until I had a kid because I don't like energy drinks. I don't drink soda. I needed a pick me up, and I started drinking coffee. I hated it, and now I'm addicted.
See, I don't drink coffee, but I would say the same with my oldest. I had no idea what I was doing, and I still don't. Uh, but no, I didn't know what to expect, so everything I thought was like a disaster. You know, every accident they had, every bump, every bruise. I was just like, do we need to go to the doctor, or am I going to be charged with murder because this kid is going to die? You know, and then by the third, I was like, everything's fine. Like I said, we've been through it all, you know. Um, but man, I would say though, I have, one girl, two boys. She was the easiest child in the world.
The first one.
Yes. Oh my God. Now,
So is the
teenager
saying
wise,
true? If you had the second one first, you wouldn't have had the second one?
yes. Yes. Now, if I would have had my third one first, whew, only child for sure. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Instant
He,
vasectomy.
yes, I wouldn't even question it. I would have been like 21 and they were like, hey, are you sure you want to get this done? I'm like, absolutely. Can you just cut it off? I don't even need
I
my
know you're doing the
testicles.
umbilical cord right now, doctor, but is there any chance we could just do a quick snip while you got the knife and everything right out?
Absolutely. This kid is a absolute pain in my ass, but wouldn't have it any other way. But
I
yeah,
mean, you
so
have to say that at this point, right?
yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he's mine. I'm like 83% sure he's mine. I've always wanted to go on Maury Povich. He's still alive, right?
Not sure. Can't confirm. I'm pretty sure the show's not. Let's see
I want to
here.
say he was around during COVID. I want to say he was like he brought back like a resurgence. Like that was like hold on. I know Jerry died. I remember him. Jerry Springer's dead. Can't
He's
confirm that.
still alive. Guess how old he is? Holy shit! I wouldn't have guessed this.
Okay, so he looks old as hell. So I'm gonna say he's 89 years old.
Okay, you're pretty close. 86.
Dang,
He looks pretty damn good for 86.
he's pretty skeleton. Like he looks like Skeletor. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
last time
Shout
I
out to his
seen
wife,
him,
Connie Chung.
oh, I forgot he married Connie Chung.
Yeah, they got married in 1984 before me and you were born. But his first wife was Phyllis Minkoff. And I
Hmm,
feel like that's kind of getting close to Yuban Whakinov style names.
might
Phyllis
be
Minkoff.
a distant relative, but I guarantee old Connie gives quite the shunnilingus.
It's crazy. I mean, he was born in 39 and he was married from 62 to 79 with old Minkoff and then went single for about 5 years. And he's been with Connie Chung ever since. That is a man that has more or less been married since 62.
Jeez. I mean, like I think civil rights were still going on during that
Could
time.
you? I mean, that's a thing to think about. And I know every once in a while we throw out something that's like, I think you said a couple of weeks, last week or the week before on one of the shows, it was like, when it's 2040, we're going to be looking back like we've been through this, we've been through this. That's a weird thing to think about when we start to get a little bit older, all the stuff that we've gone through. But just look at like Maury Povich. I never thought we'd have a conversation about him being alive in 1930s, from the 30s to 2020s. The amount of things that person has lived through. I mean, atomic bombs being dropped, from reactors blowing up to being able to prove that aliens are real, and Trump is a president. I mean,
Right.
and
And
all the
just
other presidents and everything. It's man, he's seen some shit.
and just hearing the stories from his grandparents about what they lived, you know what I mean?
The
Like,
Great Depression, and
yeah,
the turn of the century, and how quickly technology has advanced from 1930s till now is unbelievable. You're thinking, well, it's 100 years. 100 years? The amount of things that we've been able to do and prove, it's pretty wild.
it is. And just like how like the technology has advanced just during our time, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. Just again, we can look back at the video games. We've mentioned that before, just the progress that we've seen in that. I just remember being 13 and thinking it's never going to get much better than this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it can't. And then now putting in one of those old original Xbox discs and being like, holy hell, this is terrible. Like, what is this stuff?
And even first cell phones, you made a call, you had a text, and you had Snake on your phone, and like, oh, I can play a game on my phone. I mean, we used to have to travel with, this makes it sound old, I don't like this, cell phones, still cameras, everything separately. And now there's more computing power in these things than any computer that we own growing up. And for some reason, we still think every year we need a new one of these. I mean, it's not getting that much better. I don't understand how marketing is so good on cell phones that and not me and you, I don't know how old your cell phone is, but to the point where people think they need a new one every single year to get like 1/2 of a megapixel better, or maybe one little series of a processor better. Like, maybe we need to make them better or something like that. And I know they're made all overseas and stuff like that, but these phones, I mean, this one's 3 years old and I'm still completely fine with it. You take the pictures, you get on whatever you need to do. It works just fine.
Yeah, I mean, mine's creeping up on, I think, about 2 years old, and I have no need. Now, I do hate that this particular phone. I like the Note. I like the one with the stylus, and the main reason why I used to like it was because it had an external hard drive, or the not hard drive, but where you can put the little SD card in there,
Yep.
and you can
Add a
have.
little extra storage. That would be
Yeah,
handy now.
yeah. So I would always have in there, and uh, I would be able to pop those in there no problem. And now it has like 256 gigs, and they're like, "Hey, this is plenty." And I'm like, "Ugh, I got kids in a lot of sports. I take a lot of pictures. It's like
Hmm.
we do a lot of this stuff, a lot of editing as well. So it's just like, no, that takes a lot of space. So constantly trying to move that stuff fast between this into another computer, and it's just it takes too long. I hate it.
See, I do that, and then they bet because I have a Google phone, so it goes to the Google Photos, and next thing you know, my Google Drive is like, you are getting low on storage, even though I pay extra for storage, terabytes, and it still finds a way to sneak up on the old storage. And yeah, it's I don't know, it's wild. I was listening to, I think, a podcast the other day, Rogan or something, and they were like, we need an American phone that's made in America with the basics. Still you can get on this, you can get on that, but just make it so good. Like, remember back, I forget how long it was, but remember they used to make like military grade cell phones that were indestructible, and if you actually broke them, they'd give you a refund.
Yeah.
They were the basics, the
Yep.
text, the call. They might have had internet, I don't remember, but they were advertised for civilians to be able to get military style, and they were so. I had a buddy that had one. You could do whatever. We would run it over with the truck just every once in a while to prove it, and it would hold up. That thing would last forever.
We so I used to work at a cell phone store, and we had several people who bought. We used to one that was called like a Motorola Brute. It was a
Mm-hmm.
flip phone that this thing was, I mean, solid.
Yep.
Uh, there was a Kia Sarah that was one, and that was back when Boost and Nextel was a thing where you can just chirp or beep people or whatever, and
How cool was that, though?
it was awesome. And honestly, when they got rid of it, I was like, this is insane. I was like, there's a lot of people, especially in the fields, that rely on this heavily, because if you didn't have service, that still was an option that you could just, do that. And
Chirp.
uh, I actually met one of my best friends from working at one of those stores, but we would beep each other at different locations asking for inventory.
Sounds
Uh,
dirty.
and we would, this guy worked in a mall kiosk, and so he would just be like, "Oh, boys, I wish you could see what's walking past here right now." And so once the iPhone became a thing and like FaceTiming became a thing, we no longer had to rely on the chirp. He's just like, one of our demos would go off. We're like, "Oh man, it's the mall kiosk." And all you hear is, "Whoa, look at this, look at this." We're like, "Oh, thank God technology has progressed. Like, what a time to be alive."
Yeah, and I think I recently heard, I don't know, so I think I'll put allegedly, that iPhones with T-Mobile, apparently with the latest upgrade, now have access to Skylink. And I don't think it's an added cost. I think it's part of the plan or whatever. So as long as you have clear sight to the sky, you'll always have service.
Very
That's wild.
nice. Who do you use?
I'm Verizon.
Very nice. Do you like it?
Yeah, I have no problems because we don't. We're so, and you can relate to this. We're so small or whatever. It's like AT&T doesn't really work. T-Mobile, I don't know anybody that has T-Mobile. So mostly it's Verizon towers, and I know that even say Sprint or Track Phones or the other ones still use the Verizon towers that they were granted access to the same physical towers. But also Rogers is the major network in Canada, so a lot of times we get hit on roaming. And with Verizon, it's much easier with our integrated plan internationally than AT&T to be able to negotiate a border town.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I see. I started off with Sprint just because, well, technically I started off with Singular. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, I remember the name. Yeah.
That's what I started off with. And then I worked at Sprint, and they're like, "Hey, you should probably have our service if you're going to work here." And I'm like, "That's a good point." So, uh, and they're like, "Hey, our service is $20 a month, unlimited." And I'm like, "Oh snap! Hell, can I add some family members in there?" So that employee discount was awesome. Had it for
Wow.
3 years after. I quit that place. And once they finally found out, I was devastated because these plans are expensive.
What are you roughly? How many phones you got on your plan? I'm curious. Not to pull this up and do another McDonald's thing here, because would you say you were? Are you still Sprint, or you used
Nope.
to be?
So I've now when Sprint became T-Mobile, it was like awful. It didn't work here. So
Mm-hmm.
before people in the comments or anybody jump down my throat, you probably have T-Mobile. It's probably amazing. I'm happy for you. For us, it did not work well. But uh, so now I have AT&T.
Okay.
Works amazing,
Yeah.
and I have 4 phones. What about you?
What are you roughly a month? Ballpark. You don't have to give the figures out.
I think so. We actually had to change a line because my son broke his he broke his
Hmm.
phone. So we had to change it and actually made the bill cheaper. Don't know how, but I think it's like 210
Okay.
for 4.
Yeah. So we're 5 phones, and we're like $200 right now with Verizon. But what I like with Verizon that I recently found out is you can actually customize the plan by the line. So we are, because they're always upgrading stuff. We were grandfathered, which is a weird term, right? If you think about it, like, oh, grandfather. We were grandfathered into this plan, but it's so old that they're trying to get you out of it because we had free hotspot with all the lines, but we're very limited in what we can do. So they started raising the price, which I don't like that they do that to get you a new one. But then if you want hotspot, it's $10 a line. But I was able to negotiate with them via chat. My parents, they've had the same iPhone for probably 5, 10 years. I'm like, listen, they got a deal right now. So they were able to give them both brand new, I want to say 16s. I'm not an iPhone guy, but I think that's roughly the newest one. They each got brand new ones for free. And as long as they went to the new plan, with the new plan that the old man got, he's like, I want the hotspot just in case I need it. It was cheaper per line. And I'm like, huh?
It's wild how they do that. And now I do miss how you used to be able to like say every 2 years just to be able to get an upgrade. They're like, hey, you now qualify. You didn't have to turn your phone in. They were just like, now you qualify for it, but it was no more than $200 that you would have to spend on like the newest iPhone or newest Android phone or whatever. And nowadays, it's like, hey, you qualify for a new phone. It's like, sweet. They're like, give me your old one. I'm like, huh? I've been paying on this thing for 2 years. And they're like, yeah, but we still need it if you want
Mm-hmm.
to get a sweet deal on this new one. I'm like, all right, cool. Here's this phone. And they're like, all right, here's a new sweet deal. We're going to add $34 a month to your plan for this new phone. Do you need insurance? That's an additional $18 a month. Oh, you need a hotspot? Another 10, but it's capped. It's only 10 gigabytes now per line. But so
Oh,
I'm very fortunate that the missus is a healthcare worker because they get a very good plan with AT&T to where we get unlimited everything, so including hotspots. So, which is a lifesaver for road trips.
yes. Kids' tablets when they don't have the
Yes.
phones under. So what they do here is you get X amount at this higher speed with Verizon, but once you hit it, you still get unlimited. They just go at a slower speed. Is how they
Like
do
a
it there. So it's like, but what they do here with the phones is every year it's the same thing. You trade it in, and they credit you the amount for so many months. So if you want to do this one for 2 years or 36 months, they'll say, all right, your phone is free, but we're going to charge you, and then credit you, say, $34.99 a month or whatever until the phone's paid off for. But every time it's upgraded, you can either pay it off early or get a new one every, I think, 36 months. So not a bad
I need
thing.
to
Every 3 years for a new phone, no cost.
Yeah, and see, like I just the only reason why I would even need a new phone right now is again just to be like, all right, we start new, got a clean slate on the storage. You know what I mean? That'd be the only reason I'm like, oh, all right, I'll get a new one. Or if they're like, hey, it'll make your bill $30 cheaper a month. Sweet, let's do that too. Why not? But
Yep. The last time I upgraded it, the only reason I did is because it was trade in a phone, get a Google Pixel for like two of them. So me and my brother each got a Google Pixel for nothing. They just took both our phones, trade them in. They were both free. So I'm like, why wouldn't you? But
did
I just hit the 3 year mark. So now, you know what I mean? It's all paid off for. And now they're like, hey, trade this in, we'll give you another pixel for free. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's the same feel. It's kind of like upgrading a truck every year or two on a lease. You're just getting the latest model.
Hmm.
The new car smells good for a couple of weeks, and then it smells just like your farts and dirty feet, and the kids ruin it and just leave their shit all over it. So, what's the point?
It's
Drive
like
it; it's
getting
paid off for.
the new Madden each year. It's the same exact game with a different roster. It's the same thing. There might be one different addition to the game, but that's it. But
Yep, just both of our teams still not making playoffs.
no,
Well,
no.
not Purdue. Well, I guess my team did, but it doesn't. It doesn't matter. When there's no chance to winning, do they even really make it? They just get a shittier draft pick.
Yep. Yep. That's why I love being able to just do barely enough to not make the playoffs, but not good enough to be, or not shitty enough to be in the top 10 of the picks.
I
That's,
saw something about Dak Prescott on my news feed. Was there some kind of drama with Dak's brother or
oh, who
something like
knows?
that, calling out Jerry Jones? I don't know.
He
Did you see
does
something like
every
that?
year. You know what? Honestly, it seems like that's a tale as old as time. Like I think he does it every single year. Uh, he's like Jackson Mahomes.
Is he really?
But
Ugh.
I know he also has one brother that's like a little slower, and even he knows to not say anything on Twitter.
Oh, I just googled Dak Prescott's brothers. One of them's rocking a Pirates hat. All right,
It's probably that
interesting.
one I was just talking about.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
That was a low blow.
Yeah,
I apologize.
no. Yeah, right here. You effed it up. Dak Prescott's brother rants at Jerry Jones. Cowboys as major contract extension news strikes Dallas. I thought they just extended him. They didn't? Is he looking for another one?
He doesn't. He already gets 60 million a year. Like what? Jeez, like he's Joel Embiid at this point. Just like, hey, I'm gonna miss half a season, but give me more money. That's insane.
That is, yeah, I'm trying to go through this real quick. And Tad Prescott, he's the one that had the Pirates hat on, was critical of the defense. It was critical of this, whatever. I mean, it's got to be hard to be critical if you're not a guy in the locker room. It'd be like me and you being critical on this stuff. Like we're average fans, you know.
Yeah,
Just because I guess you have a little more insight. I guess if your brother's in the NFL, I would imagine. But
but that always looks bad because it always seems like, hey, is that what Is that what Dak is saying to him? Like it's never a good look. So you just want like if someone was smart enough to see my athletic capabilities and put me on their team, they were just wasting this talent just sitting here in this chair. But if they were smart enough to put me on their team, I would hope to God my brother and my mother would shut the hell up and not say anything on social
mm-hmm.
media. You know what I mean? But they wouldn't. So I wouldn't tell them a damn thing.
Then it says wild trade idea brings Micah Parsons to tears as Cowboy fans fear the worst under Jerry Jones.
I mean, are they going to trade Parsons? Because I kind of hope they do. Kind of hope they do.
That's what it says. One of the truly shocked by the news had to be Micah Parsons' reaction to. Oh, maybe they're talking about the NBA trade.
See, it now they said that Jerry is now not the worst owner in Dallas, that the Mavericks owners are for the trade that they just did to the Lakers.
Okay,
That
so the way the headline reads, it's kind of like me and you reading the same text message. I took it as he was in tears because of the news of him potentially. No, I'm pretty sure he was in tears because of Luka being traded to the Lakers.
which is absolutely insane, by the way.
That is
Like,
nuts, right?
what is going on?
The only thing that I heard, and I am by far probably one of the last people to talk NBA news. I think I really tried to get into the NBA this year. I watched a couple of games. I enjoyed a couple of the games. I don't have a team. I think that's the biggest problem. If I had a team, I'd get into it. One of the guys that I coach with, he's a big Boston guy. Like NBA is his sport. Watches it, got to see it like last year, then win it, like beyond pumped. Love it. I don't have a team, and so I hear the news and we were chatting a little bit about it. But in reading that, apparently some of the people said that they thought because he wanted some kind of extension or a major contract or something like that, Luka, and Dallas was starting to have issues with his conditioning, that they said now was the time so they could retain, obviously Davis. And then I guess Davis wasn't super happy in LA as well. So it just seemed to make sense, I guess. And I don't know, everybody's like, way to go, JJ.
Yeah, no joke. Just like seems like an absolute steal for them, but who knows? I guess we'll wait to see. But I don't know. It's crazy too to think when a lot of people are like, "Hey, Luke is only 25," and I'm like, "Nah, he's got to be a
No
little older than
way. Is
that,
he
right?"
really?
Yeah, he's 25. Same reaction, dude. I was like, "He's not 25," and then I think I looked at. I think
Yeah,
so.
he'll be 26 February 28th. He was born in 1999.
Insane, right? He's been
In
in the
the
league that
membrane.
long that we're like, "Oh, he's got to be in his 30s." You're like, "Nope." He's still in his prime, man. He still has plenty of time.
He's got at least 10 left. Probably not
Yes.
even kidding. 7 solid good years of ball. Then who knows? I mean, let's be honest. I don't know this for sure, but if conditioning is a thing in Dallas, he's not putting in the work like a LeBron James. I watched that show, the series, the documentary, or whatever on Netflix. The amount of work that dude has to do every day just to play a game blows my mind. I'm going to tell you 99.8% of this world isn't going to put in the amount of work that old LeBron James puts in just to be able to do his job. I mean, I know people that do 2% of their work to show up to their job every day. This guy is. Maybe if we were all fueled by making millions and millions of dollars, it would really incentivize it, but it is wild.
That is crazy. It just as a Cowboys fan, I was like, thank you. Finally, somebody can just get off of our nuts for a second. This is nice.
The only thing that the first question was, all right, yes, you can start pairing some superstars together, this and that, but at the end of the day, there's only so many shots that you can have in a game. And Luka averages about 21 shots per game. So I wonder, let's see. And LeBron averages 19.6. So if you have two guys putting up 40 shots a game, that seems like a lot. I don't know. I wonder how many shots are in an average NBA game.
I don't know. That's a good question because I wonder because Kyrie was probably taking quite a few shots as well when he was
Mm-hmm.
with Luca. So I don't know. I don't know.
Let's see here. Apparently, Elgin Baylor has attempted the most career field goals per game with 24 per game. I have no idea who that guy is. The average NBA field goals attempt per game right now, Houston is leading with about right around 90 to 93, and Memphis is right around 90 to, so roughly 90 shots a game. That's a lot. Holy shit.
That's a lot.
Whew.
Jeez.
I was thinking 70. I
Okay.
thought that was even high. You know what I mean? Because if they you say they shoot 50%, that's a lot of points.
That is a lot. That's
Granted, you don't
insane.
usually shoot that, but
I don't know
wow.
because I just got done watching a whole bunch of third and fourth graders play basketball, and it
Mm-hmm.
feels like there was 90 shots too, but the score is still usually like 6-4.
90 shots or 90 travels, double dribbles, and jump balls.
Oh my goodness. The traveling is usually what you let so much of it slide, but when they get to about half court, you're like, for the love of God, kid, bounce the ball outside,
Yeah, and they
please.
try to use half court as that barrier too much because they know the other team can't quite get them yet. So they run, 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 run. Stop.
Yep.
Come set a
Yeah.
pick.
That's the thing too. It's just like, hey, yeah, we don't press until half, and says so I'm like, hey, dribble the ball, and of course you got people in the crowd screaming, come on. It's like, dude, we're third and fourth graders, come on. And I
Yeah.
judge everybody by their concession stand. The one I went to yesterday, a la carte. They had
Ooh.
it was, you went through like their little cafeteria and it had like a little salad bar thing, but with little ice buckets in there. So if you wanted a Gatorade, just grab which one you want, ice cold. And I'm like, oh, so I'm grabbing everything, and the lady's looking, and she's like, "You hungry?" And I was like, "Always, every single minute of the day, miss." Like, what? I was like, "What do you got?" And she's like, "We got pulled pork." And I was like,
Ooh.
I'm like, "Okay." And she's like, "Do you want it in a sandwich or nachos?" And I was like, "Oh, baby." I was
Wow.
like, you know what? I was like, I had a sandwich recently. we're going to do the nachos this time. She's like, okay, dude, I'm telling you, for $4, I had one of those like little cardboard food trays stacked this high, just full of chip. He's me, my daughter, my son, and the missus are just sitting there all just snacking on this thing. We still threw a quarter of it away and we were all filled
Wow.
up. Dude, it's so much. And I
For
was like, this is
$4.
$4. So concession stand of the week, Barnard. It's the
Hey.
weirdest town in the world. Pulled pork nachos. Shout out to you guys. Bless
Shout
your
out.
hearts.
Was it something that somebody made, you think, or was it like kind of catered in? You know,
Definitely somebody made 100%.
like
They don't.
homemade crock pots brought in.
Yeah, yeah, because it you can see kind of like the lineup of different crock pots and everything, and I'm like, oh, you see the cheese and the chili and everything else. So that but man, everything else, like you had the candy that was right there, kind of like honor system. You hope somebody didn't just go over there and grab it and just run off and everything, but just picked it up and they were just like, all right, hey, here's your total. In and out. I was never in that line for more than 30 seconds. So
Okay.
popcorn, salty,
Ooh.
buttery, big bag, dollar. If it's more than $1, I ain't getting it. I
Yeah.
refuse. I
Yeah, we
refuse.
talked popcorn prices last week, and I'm still wanting to do a popcorn biz. But so maybe this is our new thing because we're traveling to gyms at this time of the year. 1 through 10, 1 the worst, 10 the best. We're gonna rate yours, and then I'll tell you about my concession stand of the week.
So
Seems pretty good.
this one here, I still spent quite a bit, but overall, their Gatorades were $3, which is
Ooh,
pushing it.
big
That's
bottles.
it was the big ones.
Okay,
So that I will say that, but normally everywhere else it's usually 250. So am I going to complain about 50 cents? Yes, absolutely. I'm picky. Uh Man, out of 10 though, I'm still gonna
hmm
give it an 8.3 out of 10.
that's a
That's what
pretty
I'm gonna
good
do.
one.
It's good. It's up there. What about you?
So they had like Dunkin' Donuts. There's a Dunkin' in the area, so they had Dunkin' coffee, Dunkin' Donuts. I think they were like $1.50 a donut. Your typical Dunkin' ones. I didn't think that was a huge markup. They had chili, which did look really good. The wife had it, and it was your standard, just normal grocery store wooden or not wood, yeah, wooden plate paper plates, and they filled those up. It was I think 350. I think they charged for the chili. She said it was pretty good, So all right, and it was hearty, lots of veggies. They threw corn in it, which not a lot of people do. The corn in the chili. They had pizza, which I believe they did a little breakfast pizza in the morning, and it looked like Pizza Hut pizza. I don't know what they were charging. The one thing I didn't like, that was all handwritten signs. They were supposed to be 50-cent brownies. They crossed it out and changed it to $1. Not sure what did that, but it's like, come on, you had everybody pumped for 50 cents, went to $1. Must have been a hot item. Then they had your typical nachos with cheese, but they were asking, how much cheese do you want? Like light, load it. So then the huge tubs of nacho cheese was always a hit. And cafeteria was hot as hell, like hot as hell. And the bags of popcorn, they were little bags for $1. They were $1, but I personally wasn't happy for the bang of the buck. Service was
See,
good, and they had the little Gatorades. I think $1.50 or $2. Waters were $1. So I mean, they made their money. The kid loved the nachos. The wife loved the nachos and the chili. But a old buddy of mine said, "Hey, here's the deal. You got to get the nachos with the Fritos." So that then they ran out of Fritos by the time he could get it. So he was kind of a little upset. I mean, I've seen some better ones. So for me, this one's going to be like 6.1. I mean, it was basic. It was good, but nothing that stands out. Like for me, sports, you got to have some soft pretzels, good markup on those. And you got to have some hot dogs.
yep. And that's
And, maybe, let people get a little creative. Say, hey, I want some chili cheese nachos. Charge them an extra buck or two. Say, if it's 350, hey, $5 you can have your chili cheese nachos. It's less chili. You're still going to use the cheese for nachos. Upselling.
See, the majority of the places around here, they give you the option. Usually it's 50 cents more for chili if you want chili and cheese on your nachos. So, but they had this here. They had the pretzels. They had even walking tacos. They
Mm-hmm.
had that in there as well. So they just put it in the little Dorito bag. So,
Smart.
uh, yeah. And then I seen that, we were lucky to have the afternoon tournaments. So I seen the menu for the girls that was in the morning, and they had biscuits and gravy and stuff like that as well. And I was like, ooh, and I was like, did you guys have hash browns? And they're like, oh yeah. And I was like, oh my
Oh,
god, I say it about every week, but I am a slut for some good hash browns, man. God, put it on a hamburger.
crispy.
Oh, the crispier the better. If they're
Mm.
soggy, get that shit out of here.
Yeah, it seems like if you do crisp them up a little, they're a little less greasy too. So the exit is a
Hmm.
little bit better in my opinion. So
Agreed.
you don't get any? It's like for me, the only thing I had, they did have a mac and cheese. I heard was good. I didn't see it, so I don't typically eat at those because I know I got to take a dump for whatever reason. This is a pretty big school, like bigger than this obviously the school that I went to and graduated from, and the kid goes to now. For class wise, D is the smallest in this area. This was a B. So more kids, more options. They only had, I think, one set of bathrooms open in the entire school and two different gyms spread out pretty decently. And there was two urinals and one shitter. So I'm like, man, it's a pretty busy bathroom too. Like if I got to take a dump, probably going to make some people have to wait and it's going to be a little bit awkward. So all I had there, fill stations. They got the bottle fill stations, so I know that I'm not, drinking water with some kid that's probably got something sick with a stupid mouth over a water fountain. uh, and an apple. I had an apple. 50 cents for a goddamn apple.
Damn, those used to be complimentary back in the day too. If you just wanted some fruit, you know what I mean?
I
But
would think I was the only one that got some goddamn fruit.
yeah, if someone said, "Hey, can I get an apple?" You're like, "Are you okay?" Like, blink twice. Are you like, what's going on? So, uh, that's no, that's insane. And candy prices usually that they have over there really outrageous. But I usually judge the bathrooms too. But I pregame with an Imodium. But to be
Oh,
honest,
smart.
little shameless promoting, roid rage. Don't be
Hey,
a dumbass. Be a numbass. Okay. I have I have yet to use the ointment. Haven't
ooh,
needed it. Haven't
have
haven't
you been?
needed.
You've been eating the gummies too, right?
I have, and so I did forget one day, and I was really upset because I was like, "Man, I really want to. I want to do good on this." I did find out I was doing like a gummy in the morning and a gummy in the evening. Right?
Okay.
Switched it up. I was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna do two in the morning, just in case I don't want to forget. I'm just gonna pop both of them in at the same time." I took the healthiest shit this morning of my life. Like it's not in my life, but it was probably the last 60 days, I would say easily. I was like, ooh. I was like, what is I was like, what is this pain? I was like, man, I'm cramping almost. I'm like, ooh, time to go take a shit. And whenever I did, I was like, oh man. I was like, this is big. I kind of stood away, looked, admired it for a little bit. I was like, I almost took a picture and sent it to you guys. I'm like, guys, this
It's work.
product works. I was like, Max, if you're not taking it, you should because this stuff it works.
See, I didn't
I enjoy it.
know because they sent the ointment in the gummies to me as well, and I was like, "What's it gonna do if I just take fiber and a little extra magnesium?" Like, so I messaged them, and they're like, "It's just gonna make you poop better." Like honestly, so being a guy with some stomach issues, yeah, I started doing the two a day. I was like, risky business because what if it upsets my stomach? You don't know. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna roll the dice here, even if I'm at work, whatever. So I started taking two, and I've noticed I honestly don't have to poop as much. And it's
Hmm.
an easier dump. Like it's not, and I know people are going, you guys are really talking about shit again. It's not like I'm trying to think without being too graphic. It's not too soft, but it's not like so hard that you got to strain. It's just a healthy dump. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm usually 2 to 4 a day. I've been just a nice, good one usually after the meals, and I even didn't have to morning poop the other day. Couldn't believe it.
See,
I sat
mine,
down because it's just my routine, and I was just like, why am I even sitting here? I don't even take a shit.
mine, I typically do mine in the morning, and I usually it was like three or four. I would text you guys and be like, "Well, I'm on my fifth one." And they're like, "Man, it's not even 7:30 in the morning." I'm like, "I know
Which I
this
was
is my
surprised
life."
after that day you didn't have to use the ointment.
I know. I was really, really, and I thought I was going to have to use it because I mean, I'd say
Oh,
this
wee
Friday,
wee.
we did some very, very fat shit. I mean, just, eh, nobody could decide what sounded good to eat for dinner. I was like, hey, I'm going to go pick something up. I was like, I already have to be in town. What do you guys want? and then it was, oh no, it was Thursday because it was buy one get one free wings at B Dubs, Buffalo Wild
Ooh.
Wings, and I'm like, there you go, super cheap. Even had a discount thing on my app saying, hey, spend $20, we'll give you a free appetizer. Guess what? I had 40 wings for like, I think $21. I was like,
Gotta love them maps. Suck it, Burley.
I was like, let's go, baby. So I get this app. It's chips and dip. Why? Because the missus is like, I don't really want wings. And I'm like, what do you want? And she's like, I got enough points for a free burrito at Chipotle. And I'm like, that's within walking distance of each other. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, we're not spending any extra money.
Did you
Shout
actually
out,
walk?
no.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be real. Let's
That's
be real. And then my daughter overhears and she's like, hey, you know what's in between these ones? And I'm like, come on now. She's like, Chick-fil-A. And I was like, oh. I was like, I hate their drive-through. It is the most inconvenient drive-through to get through. I drive a truck. Hate it, you know? And I was like, all right. She's like, I have enough points. And I was like, here we go. And I was like, what happened to it? Like, now we got 40 wings. And I'm like, now it's just for 3 people because the 2 people are backing out. I'm like, what are we doing here? And I was like, now I'm committed to the free appetizer. I don't want to take any away. I was like, oh my God, okay. I asked my son, I was like, hey, you don't want to change anything? He's like, no, wings it is. I'm like, thank God, a man of taste that just wants to be simple and everything's fine. Then I get to my youngest, I'm like, you're okay with wings still, right? And he goes, can I have McDonald's? And I'm like, I'm not going to McDonald's. No way. I was like, what do you want? Chicken nuggets. And I'm like, we're getting that here, but different flavors. And he's like, I guess I don't get what I want. And I'm like, I have enough points with McDonald's. I will get you.
Oh, no.
So, and guess what? As we're heading that way, the youngest is like, but I wanted pizza. And I'm like, no, you didn't even say that. I was like, you said you wanted a Happy Meal. So I texted Mrs. and I was like, hey, we're already on our way. I was like, do you guys want Little Caesars? And I was like, we can get a hot ready for like $5, you know? So then I get on the app. They had free crazy bread with any purchase. And I'm like, this is destiny. I was like, so I went to Little Caesars, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Buffalo Wild Wings, and Chipotle
Holy shit.
in one evening. It took me, no joke, 45 minutes to go around everywhere. And it was close together. Chick-fil-A, I hype up your drive-thru usually. I'm not a big fan of your food, but I'm like, your drive-thru, easy peasy. No, I don't know what happened. The car that was in front didn't get their food. I got my food. I can't go nowhere. 3 people behind me get their food. And they're like, everyone's kind of honking. And I'm like, they can't see the car in front of me. So I'm hearing, hey, go to the truck. And I'm like, piss off. You shouldn't be yelling at me. This is the Lord's chicken. Let's be respectful.
It's not Sunday.
Yeah. I was like, come on now. I was like, let's be nice to one another. But inside, I'm like, what the F is going on with this guy? I was like, move. And then McDonald's, of course, doesn't matter. Every time there's two speakers. I choose the wrong one every time. If there's
Do they have
somebody
the
behind,
like pull over lanes at the one near you too, where if your food's not ready, they'll be like, "Oh, can you pull over to 2 and we'll bring it out when you're ready?"
every time. And since we have so many kids, they always get like that shareables thing where it's 40 nuggets. So I'm guaranteed every time they're like, hey, we're going to have to park you because not only did you order 40 nuggets, but you also got a Happy Meal of 6 nuggets. And I'm like, I know. And they're like, Jesus Christ, you fat heifer. I'm like, they're not all for me. Am I going to eat what's left over?
I
Absolutely.
guarantee you they're not looking at you and calling you a fat heifer from other things that I would have to imagine roll through that drive-through.
I wonder if that Lyft wrapper has ever been looked at up and down at a McDonald's, because
100%.
have you seen the pictures of her as well? That's they're like, because she's like, look, I can fit in any vehicle I want to, and she's been taking pictures of herself in very large SUVs, but all these have the door wide open.
Yeah.
She's never in the vehicle, so every time I click on the comments, it never fails that they're like, hey, put that seatbelt on, girl. If you can't click it, you must have quit it.
I mean, when you're that big, you know you're that big. you know where you're going to fit and you're not going to fit. It's like, okay, I'm pretty big. Am I going to be able to reach under my bed and grab that suitcase? You're not probably not going to try. Or you're going to have somebody else do it. Or you're going to use something to pop that out. Or you're not going to put them underneath the bed. Like, let's be honest. We all have a friend who's really big and they know their limitations.
Yeah,
This
yeah, and
person knows what they were getting into. They're making a big deal, whether it's for their career or whether they're just bored. They're looking for some money. You know what you know. Stop.
honestly, I know who was it? Kevin Smith that tried to sue, was it Southwest, whatever, whenever they tried charging him for 2 seats.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't, I'm trying to be respectful. You should be charged for 2 seats.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
just, are you occupying 2 seats? Well, yes, because, well, I have health issues and stuff like that. That's okay. That's fine. You gotta pay extra. I don't, I don't know. I try to, I know that I'm a not small person by any regards, and I'm like, hey, I want the aisle seat so I can have a little bit of that leg room. I'm always choosing the. I'm a safe individual. I'm choosing the emergency exit row. I want that leg room.
I
I
want the
want to be
leg
able to.
room and I want to be the hero.
Yeah, honestly, and I'm honest. I mean, first one out, me. It's doors opening. I will test to make sure that slide is operational. See ya. I'll let you guys know it's good.
Whee!
Whee! You know, but I guess we probably should make yeah, next topic on that. Uh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was like. Maybe we shouldn't
Yeah,
talk airline stuff.
yeah,
Obviously, we
yeah.
know it's a bad situation that recently happened, but not trying to make plane jokes. We're making long leg jokes, and
Yes.
I
Yes.
was just talking to my parents. They're getting ready to go on a cruise, and I'm like, there is a 0% chance of me getting on an airplane anytime soon. There is just
Yeah.
been one scary close call here and this. I mean, there's been small craft crashes. Obviously the major tragedy. Just there's been a lot of issues in the airlines lately, and I'm not sure what's causing it, but I am terrified to get on a plane right now.
Same. I'm very glad. I rarely get on airplanes. We do a lot of ours driving. I know you and I, a 3 or 4 hour drive is nothing to us. And then we have other friends who are going, "Oh my God, that's a long drive." We're like, this is easy. This is nothing, So uh, I was very fortunate that I got on my airplane in November. And I'm like, I'm glad, because if it was March or April, I'd be like, I'll just drive to Vegas. I don't need to fly. Nope. No, thank you.
I know me and the wife, we've been talking about trying to get to Nashville. Her sister lives down there. We really want to go. We love live music and hanging out. And everybody's like, well, get your wallet out because it's not cheap to eat and drink down there. I'll tell you that. Because where we go, you can spend $2-3 for a beer.
Oh
And
yeah.
we have, and she's like, let's look how long of a potential drive it is. I'm like, yeah, it's probably the move. I know I got to go to Ohio this summer for a softball tournament, and I'm like, 8.5 hours one way.
Oof.
That's
Oof.
gonna be a long one.
That's Nashville for me. I possibly have to attend one in April, and they were talking about driving, and I was like, oh, thank God. And everyone's like, yeah, you want to drive? And I'm like, yeah. I was like, the 9 hour drive ain't nothing. And especially if I think, are you the one that likes to drive, or do you like to be the passenger princess?
I like to drive,
Do you hate being in the passenger seat?
kinda.
Does it make you very anxious whenever, like, that little mistakes and everything else? Does it like drive you over the edge?
Not too bad, but it just like I just get bored. Like I'm not a type of guy that can just aimlessly scroll or do this, and I cannot nap on a moving vehicle. Like whether it's a car trip, whether it's a plane, whatever, I just struggle turning my brain off, and I try watching movies, TV shows, like I'll download them and I just physically can't. So then it's just me just like I bring books, I try to read, I can't read. I'm just miserable. So I need to drive and listen to music and just be in control, I guess.
That's so. I guess I don't know if it's a control thing or not, but I think it is for myself. Because because I cannot same. I usually can't sleep. But if I feel the car just go slightly off the road, I'm like, my heart just, I'm like, ugh. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, I trusted you. I was getting ready to close my eyes. Now I don't want to.
Yep.
So,
In New York, they
but
got the rumble strips in the middle. So if you hit a little to the center, the right, like, son of a bitch. If it's a bunch of buddies and stuff and it's a road trip and there's kind of that atmosphere and that vibe, I could be a passenger. And, maybe if there's a couple of road sodas involved, I'm like, all right, I can do this. I'm a little relaxed. No big deal. But yeah,
yeah,
typically I like to drive.
that's how. And then usually if I'm driving and everyone is partaking in either the devil's lettuce or some road sodas, that's when I'm like, I'm usually even more at edge. I'm like, they're all sitting there rocking back and forth or everything, just listening to music, screaming. And I'm just like, I'm just gonna just drive off the edge of the road here, just real quick, just one quick turn of the steering wheel, and we're all just gonna go.
More proof that we were not built to be bus drivers. I couldn't imagine having a whole bunch of crazy kids on a bus trying to drive their asses around.
Nope, I would be like Chris Farley for sure, and my Billy Madison, 100%. I would be like him.
That's unreal. But I just looked at the clock for the very first time, and I think we got ourselves an episode. Look at that.
That was
From
quick.
poop to all sorts of different, from poops to school buses. We're all going full circle. But yeah, check out the friends of the show. We mentioned our friends. Right. Check them out. You guys can use code BEARD and save yourself some money. It's affordable. Those gummies are good. You'll be taking healthy dumps like you've never before. Our friends Copper Johns and all of the other ones in the descriptions. Click them. Click them all. Click them all. Bet you won't. Or don't. I don't really care. But Yuban, I appreciate the hell out of you, brother. Brandon, again, big congratulations. I'm sure you're not going to listen or watch this. And hopefully you'll see his very tired but beautiful face next week. But if not, it's understandable because, well, he ain't getting any sleep because number 3 is going to keep him awake, and so is number 1 and 2. So good
Both
luck.
of us with multiple kids were saying, hey, what were you thinking?
I'm so grateful that I do not have to start over. I couldn't imagine.
Never again. Never again.
Couldn't imagine, but congratulations, Brandon.
Good luck, buddy. Wishing you the best.
Luck, my dude. And all right, that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Enjoy the rest of your week and go enjoy the Super Bowl. It's this weekend. It's a whole bunch of teams. Well, 2 teams that nobody really wants to win unless you're fans of those teams. So check out the Body Wrong for our predictions 2 days before the old Super Bowl, which is coming out tomorrow if you're watching this on a Thursday. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But sorry, I just pictured Philly winning and the stupidity that would come from all of that goddamn city. But maybe they'll burn it down and it'll never have to be a problem again.
I feel like if they lose, the city burns. If they win, the city burns. So we have something to look forward to.
Hell yeah. All right, that's all we got. We'll be back next week. Be good to your wieners. Bye-bye.